Hello everyone, welcome to the AMA here at Google Hanguk. My name's Nathan. Let me start Facebook here. Alright, we should be live on both YouTube and Facebook now. Welcome back to our AMA live stream. We host this every Monday around lunchtime in Korea, so thank you for joining us. And first, I'd like to start out with announcements as usual. So as you probably know, we'll be at KCON 2017 in New York, and it's coming up very soon, June 23rd and 24th. We're actually giving a panel. It's panel number 2 on Saturday, June 24th, and we have some great prizes to give away, including free tuition at 2 of our schools, as well as a free stay at our share house partner, Borderless House. And also we'll be at the KCON in LA as well, further down the line in August. And we'll be sure to give you more details about that closer to August. And we hope to also have the panel there as well. If you're not able to come to the panel, then at least visit our booth. We'll have a booth at both locations in LA and New York. And we'll have some free swag to give away as well there, thanks to our partner schools, and as well as us. We have brochures and flyers. So thanks in advance for stopping by and checking out our booth. Like to remind you of deadlines as normal. We have a lot that are this summer, so that includes many of them. Let me just switch to my camera here. There we go. Sorry about that. That includes Gyeongsang University and Sungyongwan and Hanguk and Hanyang and Shila. And as you know, with Lexus Korea, you can start any Monday. And then we have opened up our Winterful Korea trip, which is our winter winter study trip, not summer. That application goes until October. So you can find it on our website under study trips, and you can click and apply today. Next week, Eddie is going to be in Busan to film 2 class observations. We're going to be at Gyeongsang and Shila University. So he'll be filming a class observation there of their Korean language course. And also, he's going to be filming, tomorrow, sorry. That's going to be tomorrow for Gyeongsang and Shila. And for our new partner, Yeongnam University, we're also going to be filming there this week for their promotional video. So maybe you've seen our promotional video that we finished with Sheila. It's going to be similar to that. And Yeongnam University is located in Daegu. So for those of you that don't know, Daegu is like the 3rd largest city in Korea, and they're famous for apples. Actually, the climate is good for tasty apples, and also they're known for textiles, so fashion and the associated textile industry with that. It's in the southeast part of Korea. It's kind of close to where Busan is located. It's further inland than Busan, but same region, southeast area of Korea. And let's see, other videos that are going to come out. We filmed at Sungyongwan University and Hanyang University earlier this year, so we will be publishing those probably end of this month, beginning or early July. So first should be SKKU's video, Sungyongwan University's video, and then Hanyang's will come out, and then later we should have Yeongnam University's video out after it gets produced. Other reminders include these days my initial emails for like applications that I send to you guys have been getting kind of long, and I know it's a lot of information, but I wanted to give you everything that you need all in one email at least. So please read the emails in detail and read all the attachments as well, because the attachments sometimes will include either this information in a different form or even more information like prices or dormitory information, the application forms, etc. So be sure to just read everything in detail, and if you do have questions after that, then please let me know. Otherwise, I do try to send you all the information that I have. So thanks for reading those in detail, and again, if you have any questions, just please let me know. So today, a lot of people ask, besides the normal things you should worry about when you travel, when you're packing, like what else should I know specifically about Korea in terms of what I need to pack? And normally, besides your normal items that you would normally pack for a long-term trip, there isn't too much else to worry about. These days, you can find almost everything in Korea that you can probably find in your home country, especially if you're from the States. Otherwise, I think it should be pretty similar. Otherwise, I will list some things here. So one thing is hygiene items. A lot of people normally ask about that. These days, you can pretty much find almost everything in Korea. One thing that is rare here is actually deodorant. So, like in the US, at least, you go into a grocery store or like a drugstore and you see like 20, 30 different brands, whole walls of deodorant for both men and women. Here, you will not find that. If you go into a big supermarket, you might find like one brand, and that's it for like both men and women. So if you have like a antiperspirant or deodorant you like, then I would bring that with you. I know here, like, I think Nivea makes one for women, and then I think Axe products might be here in Korea, but again, it's very rare. Like, there's no like wall of deodorant like there is in, say, the US. So something to keep in mind. The other thing is, if you have like a favorite toothpaste you like, you can bring that. However, you can find toothpaste brands, like many different toothpaste brands here in Korea, and you may have seen videos or seen on the internet some very unique flavors to those toothpastes here in Korea. I mean, they do have your normal minty flavors, but they have some other unique ones as well. Like for instance, you can find Sensodyne here in Korea. So there are brands, overseas brands, that are making their way into Korea. However, if you do have a favorite like flavor or brand, then feel free to bring it. If you are allergic to certain things, it may be helpful to initially bring like whatever allergy medicine you have, if it's over the counter, or if you have a prescription, then you should bring the prescription in case you need to refill it here in Korea while you're here. So that's just something to keep in mind in general with different prescription drugs you may have, to bring the actual bottle with the prescription or your form from your doctor to make sure that you can show when you come into the country that you have a proper prescription for it, as well as then if you need to get it refilled here, then you could go to a doctor and say, yeah, like back in my home country I'm taking this medicine, can you like write a prescription for me? Same thing with like vitamins and supplements, like if you're taking like a daily multivitamin or something like that, it is helpful to like bring some with you. You can bring that into the country. Supplements here are getting more popular. However, it might be cheaper and or just easier to bring your own bottle of like one a day or multivitamins that you take. The other thing that may help you in terms of packing is, you may have seen them, they're like these very large, they look like Ziploc or like plastic bags, but you can either squeeze or vacuum out all the air. So those help you compact things. Like if you come during winter, you may have a lot of winter clothing that's very thick. So like when I came here, I put my like heavy winter jacket and like sweaters and stuff inside those bags and compacted them like really, really tightly so I could fit more into my luggage initially. So those are a helpful packing tool. I believe you can find them here now, although again, they might help you when you go back to your home country, but coming here, you're going to need probably something to help you pack more compactly. Let's see. Other things you may need to be aware of are bathroom appliances like curling irons or hair dryers. It may just be easier to buy them here due to the voltage difference. A lot of them come with like big warning tags. It's like, don't plug this into anything but a certain voltage or an amperage. That's normally true. You're gonna burn out your device, or you might have a fire hazard. So you can buy like a decent hair dryer here for like $10 to $20. Same thing for curling irons. They sell them in like stores like Olive Young or Watson's, or even like Artbox has certain small bathroom appliances. So it may be just easier to buy them here and not worry about like burning out your favorite hair dryer or curling iron. Electric razors too, you may need to be careful with that. Just check the device for its voltage rating, because here in Korea the voltage is 220 volts, as opposed to say in the US where it's like 110 or 120. If you do have, for other electronics that are dual voltage, just make sure you have the outlet adapters. So here in Korea they use the two kind of cylindrical prongs similar to a lot of Europe. Just be aware of that if you do decide to bring over your electronics. I bought like a bunch of outlet adapters on Amazon.com before I came here for quite cheap. I recommend the ones that are like fully a full cylinder with the two prongs, not just like the rectangular thing you can slip over the outlet, because it holds into the outlet better. Because these days, you know, you may have a large AC adapter to your electronics, so it may have a lot of weight. When you add like an adapter and then you try to plug it into the wall, it may not hold very well. So just something to keep in mind. Let's see, for other electronics like that may not be dual voltage, you may need a transformer. I have seen them for sale here, however they can be expensive. So my advice to you is check that your electronics are dual voltage, and or buy small like bathroom electronic or devices here like a hair dryer or a curling iron or something. It'll just make your life easier and you don't have to worry about getting rid of a transformer later or like lugging it home. Otherwise, a lot of other electronic devices are actually more expensive in Korea than they are, say, at least compared to the US. I'm not sure about the UK or like Australia or New Zealand or whatever, but in the US, as you probably know if you're American, there's a lot of sales online and as well as like in stores. But here in Korea, things can be a little bit more expensive, especially like cell phone prices. So that's something to keep in mind. In terms of your cell phone, make sure the device is unlocked if you want to get like a SIM card here, and use like a phone number while you're in Korea. A lot of places will sell prepaid SIM cards, or you can get like prepaid data and such like that. So make sure your device is unlocked to be able to make use of the Korean networks. The two most popular carriers here are called Olay, which is run by a company called KT, and then SK. So there's a third one called LGU Plus, but they're like very small compared to the other ones, and their legacy network is actually much different than LG or Olay. So most likely your phone will work on SK or it'll work on Olay, and they're both like 4G carriers. They use GSM standards. So say you're on like T-Mobile or AT&T in the US, it shouldn't be a problem. These days, I think most carriers in the US, they will unlock your phone if you depending on your contract and your agreement with them. So just contact them beforehand, before you get to Korea. I think contacting them when you're in Korea is much harder because you don't have access to your phone number or anything then. So something to keep in mind with the cell phones. And again, for those just joining us, I'm Nathan. I'm the International Student Coordinator here at GoGo Hanguk, and we're talking about what you need to remember when you're packing for your trip to Korea. Some other things to consider. So clothes in Korea, like for me, I'm kind of short, at least by American standards. I'm only like 5'5". So coming to Korea for me has been like kind of an advantage because clothes fit me better. But if you're like say 6'6" or something like that, or if you're really tall or kind of a really at least really tall, like it may be harder to find clothes for you. Or if you have really big feet, I'm kind of like an average shoe size. I'm like in American sizes 8.5, or in Korean sizes it's like 260 or 265. But if you're like something like size 13, size 14 shoe, like really big shoe, you may have trouble finding shoes. Like the biggest size I've seen here for a Korean shoe is like 300. I'm not sure exactly how that translates, but you can find that online, I'm sure. But just be aware of that. Like if your feet are really big, then you may have trouble finding shoes here. If your feet are on the smaller side, then you might be in luck, because they do sell quite small shoes here. Again, just look up like what your equivalent shoe size would be, and then plan accordingly. Otherwise, for guys and girls clothing, like again, be aware that like even for me, my t-shirt size in the States was like small or extra small, but here it's medium or even in some cases large. So I would say that if you have clothing that you like to wear often, and you are like either really tall or like then bring it with you. There are more like foreign brands getting into Korea, and therefore there may be more variety of sizes available. However, in general, things are more like geared towards being smaller in Korea still, I believe. Let's see, other things to consider. If you like cooking and you have access to a kitchen while you're here, you can find a lot of different cooking materials here now, like ingredients, as well as like pots, pans, all that stuff. But if there's some specific spice or like sauce you like or something, you can consider bringing like a small one with you while you're here. Some spices and sauces are still very expensive, even in like the big supermarkets. So that's something to consider. If you have like sensitivities, like especially things like seafood, or like you're allergic to seafood, or you are have like a gluten sensitivity or things like that, then you need to be quite careful, and it may behoove you to try to get someplace where you can cook more, due to a lot of sauces and other things having those ingredients. And I'm sure restaurants do the best to let you know about things like that, but if they pre-buy sauces or pre-buy like spice mixes and stuff, they may not know necessarily. So that's something to keep in mind and something to consider when you're out eating out and not cooking at home. I know some people here make their own kimchi because they don't always know what goes into like prepackaged kimchi or kimchi at restaurants. So it's something to keep in mind for allergies and different dietary needs. Also here, people love pork. We eat pork in Korea like there's no tomorrow. While there are more like different diet type of restaurants coming out, like vegan restaurants, vegetarian restaurants, pork is still probably the most eaten meat after like chicken. So if you are having certain dietary restrictions or due to religious reasons or anything like that, just keep that in mind. And you can normally find something to eat without too much trouble. However, just be aware, like if you ask for something with no meat, or like no seafood, the broth in a soup might be meat or seafood based, or they may add like fish sauce or something like that, and they may not necessarily consider that meat or fish product. So it's something to keep in mind. If you have any questions about that, or want us to do like a video about the Korean phrases to know about eating out, then just let us know. Other things relating to food, if you have like special treats you like, or snacks or candy or something like that to bring from your home country, that's nice, especially if you meet friends from other countries or Korean friends and they aren't able to try that because they don't live there in your home country. That's something to consider bringing, and have something nice to share with people you may live with or meet. Another interesting thing about Korea is sheets and towels. Right? Actually, now it's easier to find what Americans and maybe others would consider like full-size bath towels, like ones you can wrap around yourself. But for the longest time, the normal towel you would get in Korea is like the size of a hand towel in the States, or they call it like a face towel. And basically it's, only about, yay big and yay wide. And that's what they would use, like those to dry off after taking a bath or shower. They'd use like multiple ones. Like in one of my friends' houses, they don't have those big, like a big, what we'd consider a bath towel. They have like a stack of the small hand towels or face towels, I guess. And then if they need to use more than one, then they use more than one. But these days, you can find the bigger ones in the big market or big supermarkets. Otherwise, for when I travel, either inside or outside of Korea, and I stay overnight, depending on the accommodation, sometimes I bring a microfiber travel towel, which In the States, I know you can buy them probably at like Target or REI or something like that. Um, Basically, you can fold them up quite small, and then they dry really quickly, and also are quite absorbent. So that might be something to pack if you are worried about buying a towel, or if you do like buy a big bath towel. It's like, well, I don't want to pack a big bath towel when I go back to the my home country or something. So yeah, microfiber towel is a good thing if you can get a hold of one, and it may save you room, and is also quicker drying than cotton. So the other thing is the like bed sheets and linens in Korea. A lot of people still will just use like basically a thick pad and then a comforter or a blanket or something on their bed. Some people even still sleep on the floor in Korea. So, and then they use like pads and different cushioning, and then they will use the blanket over them to sleep. So if you're coming from like the West, maybe you're used to a fitted sheet and then a regular sheet and blanket or duvet or comforter or something, a quilt. This is not as, still I don't think it's not as common in Korea. They're becoming more prevalent, but if you go like into a department store and you see all the bedding, it's mostly like these really nice comforters and quilts and duvet covers and cushy blanket things. You won't see like your nice Egyptian cotton like sheet displays like you might see in Bed Bath & Beyond or something. So that's something to consider. And if you want to have like a sheet set like by the Western standards, then of course you could bring like a fitted sheet with you. Otherwise, like you can buy one of the mattress toppers. I think that's what they call them, mattress toppers or mattress pads, for quite cheap, and then a blanket or something to have for your bed. These days, they are, again, regular, like what we consider regular sheets are becoming more common, but again, if you prefer like something, or if you want really soft, like 1,000 thread count sheets, then by all means, you can bring those with you. If you're into outdoor things, then Korea is great for you, because hiking and camping are really popular here, especially with like the kind of older generation. People will buy like everything for like a one-day hiking trip. They'll be completely decked out, and the clothing and a backpack and hiking poles and things like that. So if you like outdoorsy things, then it's easy to find gear for that. But things that might be slightly harder to find are like certain sports, like say some winter sports, or like American football or hockey or things like that. While sports like that are becoming more popular, some of that equipment may not be as common. Like say you walk into a sporting goods store in the US, you'll have like a wall of basketballs and footballs and soccer balls and whatever. It may be floor to ceiling for like, who knows how many feet. That's not the case here in Korea yet. Maybe for soccer balls, but I don't think it's going to be the same as what you'd expect in like Dick's Sporting Goods or Sports Authority or something like that in the States, at least. The big supermarkets like E-Mart or Home Plus, or department stores, they may have like a sporting goods section, but it's probably not going to be to the extent of what we'd expect in the US. There's a lot of brand stores as well, like say the North Face will have like a humongous store with everything of theirs, or local Korean brands too, like will have their brand stores, and they'll have like everything for everything they sell. But it's not as common to see like just a sports goods store with 20 or 30 different brands of things, not like REI or something like that in the US. Another thing about outdoor things, in Korea, it gets terribly cold during the winter. It's windy, it'll snow, so if you're gonna be studying during the winter, be aware of that you'll be you need to be prepared. Bring like long underwear, bring your heaviest winter jacket. It's not only that it's cold, it's that it's windy, especially here in Seoul, where the buildings will like funnel air down streets. So you'll go outside and you'll be blown all over the place sometimes, just due to like how the air is funneled between all the skyscrapers here in Seoul. But even if you're say in a place like Daegu or Busan or whatever, it won't be as chilly, but it will be cold. So be prepared for snow, be prepared for that weather. And the same thing for on the other side of the coin, same thing for summer. Summer is very hot and humid in Korea. I mean, right now we're at the start of summer. It's already in the 80s, and it'll get more hot and humid as the summer goes on into like August. But a lot of people have like portable fans that either you can stick a USB thing in, like a portable battery, or like a separate portable fan, or like the paper fans or whatever, to keep themselves cool. Even in public transportation, even if they're like blasting the air conditioning, it may still be hot because there's just so many people, or it's so humid that the air conditioning doesn't always keep up. So just be aware of that. Also, to conserve energy, a lot of buildings don't set their air conditioning very low, so it may be like 78 degrees inside the building or warmer. So be aware of that. When I was in language school, they kept the building at like 26 degrees, I think, which is kind of standard in Celsius. So I think that's still quite high. That's like 78-ish in Fahrenheit or something. So you know, they do their best, but also energy is very expensive here. So be aware of that during the summer. And then same thing during the winter. Using a lot of gas to heat your house or heat your building wherever you are is also expensive. So be prepared for that weather and pack accordingly. If you are studying with us for like a long period of time and you could experience all the seasons in Korea, which is great, you can kind of have your wardrobe set for each season, because Korea does experience all the seasons quite in a row. It's not like we go immediately from summer to winter, or we skip seasons. Pretty much there's a defined spring, summer, fall, and winter. So me personally, I really like autumn in Korea. I like the fall time. It's sunny and cool but not cold, and the air is, the sky is clear, air is good, and you know, you can go outside in like a light jacket and be fine. So that doesn't last as long as say summer or winter, but leading up to winter we get a great fall between summer and winter, and spring is also very nice with the cherry blossoms and around April, and again the sun's coming out longer, and spring again is kind of short, but also a very good time to be in Korea. If you like the cold, then of course come to Korea in the winter, and if you like it steamy hot, then summer is great for you. Let's see, other things you should keep in mind for packing. I think that pretty much covers it. If you plan on doing a lot of shopping here in Korea, I know a lot of people will actually pack an empty suitcase or empty duffel bag in their luggage, or like say you have a big roller bag, you actually put a smaller roller bag inside the larger one and then pack inside of that. So then when you get to Korea, you can have like an extra bag available. If you're gonna buy like a lot of, I don't know, whatever you wanna buy here, food or souvenirs or things for your friends or family. I've done that in the past when I've gone back and forth to visit my family for like things in the States, because I live in Korea full time now. I'll pack like an extra empty bag so I can bring stuff back to Korea. But if you want to bring stuff from Korea back to your home country after you finish studying, then it's a good idea to pack an empty bag somehow, or you can also find like luggage or bags here in Korea for quite reasonable prices. In the touristy areas, you can definitely find people selling duffel bags or even other roller bags that you can use to pack souvenirs and other gifts and things that you want to take back to your home country. So that's helpful to know. Did you have a?
Can you check the internet?
Oh,
It is working.
is the connection working? Maybe not. Excuse the technical difficulties. We're just double checking the connection here. Seems to be working. Let us know in the comments if you can't see anything. Let me just check the Facebook stream really quickly. Is working okay? It looks like it is on Facebook. Alrighty, I think we're back. Apologies if we faded out there for a little bit. I think that's about about all I had for today. I just wanted to wrap up here soon. So today we talked about things you wanted to keep in mind when you're coming to live and study in Korea in terms of packing. So talked in general about like hygiene and clothing items that you need. So again, I mentioned deodorant is not that common here in Korea. Maybe they just don't sweat as much as other places, but if you have like a favorite deodorant, antiperspirant, you can bring that. Regarding allergies and drugs and supplements you may take, just be aware to bring those with you. If you take prescription drugs, be sure to bring the prescription bottle or the prescription itself to make sure you can identify that. If you need a refill by any chance, you can visit a doctor and say, I've been taking this in my home country. There's some things you can bring with you to save space, like vacuum bags or packing an empty bag if you want to take a lot back to your home country. For clothing, again, things might be a little smaller sized here in Korea than you're used to, especially for like shoes. So you can keep that in mind when you're packing. Cooking things or food. If it's something, again, you make sure to check like the customs rules in Korea, but normally if it's something that's prepackaged or dried goods like spices or candy or things like that, those should be okay to bring. And just be aware of your food sensitivities or allergies as well when you're out to eat. Be sure not to burn out your hair dryer or electric curling iron. You can find those cheaply here in Korea. Otherwise, most modern day electronics like your cell phone or your computer are dual voltage. Just make sure the outlet is correct for Korea. With sheets and towels, again, you can find bigger towels here in Korea these days. However, some places may use the smaller face or hand towel size. Same thing with sheets. You're starting to find things like normal, what we call Western style bedding in Korea these days. But again, be aware of that as you're shopping around. And if you love the outdoors and hiking and things like that, then you're in luck. There's a lot of gear here in Korea. People are really into camping these days too. You can find like coolers and chairs and tents and all that. But just be aware, maybe if you're have something specific that you do and you want to make sure you'll be able to do it here in Korea, then you can of course bring that with you. And dress for the season. Right now it's really hot, but soon, later, November, December, it's going to get really, really, really cold. So if you're going to be studying with us from like say summer into next year, then be aware that you should have clothing for all those seasons. And if there's no questions from the stream or from Facebook or YouTube, then I think I'll wrap it up here. I'm just going to check really quickly. And as you know, we are here every Monday at around noon Korean time, answering your questions. This is a question I've gotten quite frequently and recently, so I wanted to address it. If you have something specific you're worried about, then of course you can ask me and send me an email. You can find us at info@gogohanguk.com, or you can comment. And on any of our social media, we check everything and we get back to you as soon as possible. For emails, we try to get back to you within 1 to 3 business days, and we've been pretty good about doing that. And if it takes us a little longer due to like a national holiday or the weekend, then thanks for your patience. I don't see anything new on Facebook. Let's check YouTube really quickly. Thanks for joining us on both of the streams. We do stream on both YouTube and Facebook. We do try to give you reminders about when we're streaming, and yeah, I don't think there's anything. All right, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for joining us, and I've been Nathan, Gogo Hanguk, and we will see you next week.